Good morning. Happy Tuesday. How is everybody doing? I'm going to go ahead and get myself live on Instagram. Let's go. There I am. Good morning. All right. Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is to bring you guys inspiration, motivation, and a ton of tips to help y'all on your fitness and your fat loss journey. So many things on the mind today, but I'm going to start by talking about what is today's topic about. I am going to be breaking down metabolic mapping, which is essentially your way of figuring out how your metabolic type impacts how it impacts how your body's going to respond to changes in your nutrition and your training. But we got some talking to do. All right. I just have so many thoughts about what's going on in the CrossFit world, in the world of fitness, and in my own personal journey. You know what? We're just going to say that for a whole other podcast episode. I have just been feeling really pulled to talk about body image lately, whether it's things that I'm struggling with or things that I see my clients struggling with. And maybe I could have made this the topic of today, but I feel like if I start talking about this, I'm not going to want to stop. So I'm just going to hold off on that. We're just going to go ahead and stick to the plan. We're going to talk about metabolic mapping. So you guys have likely never heard of metabolic mapping before. It is something that I would like to, what's the word I'm looking for? Trademark. It's something unique to what I do. However, it doesn't mean that it's a new thing. I don't want you guys thinking that I'm selling some kind of a new thing, right? Like, because that's every person out there in the fitness and the nutrition and even the health space. It's like, oh, try my new hormone balancing supplement when it's really the same thing that's been around for 10 years, or try my new fat loss plan when it's really just another way to create a calorie deficit, right? So I'm not trying to label something that's brand new, but I want you guys to understand how metabolic mapping is a method that I use to help you guys figure out what changes to your training and nutrition are going to produce the best results for you. So if this starts to spark some questions for you, or you have more questions about it as I get going, please feel free to pop them up in the chat, whether you're watching live on Instagram, you're watching live on YouTube, or you're watching live on Facebook. I will try and periodically come around and check in on there, but I do want to start to get into this a little bit. It's so hard for me not to want to go off on a tangent. That's just my ADHD, but I'm going to stick to the plan today. All right. So let's talk a little bit about metabolic mapping. So who is this for? All right. So if you're somebody who has been trying all the things, you're working out regularly, and you feel like everything you do in the gym and with your nutrition, it just seems like your body just doesn't respond. Like, you tried meal timing strategies, you've tried cleaning up your diet, you've tried tracking macros, you've tried meal plans, you've tried changing your training, you've tried more cardio, you've tried less cardio. Your body just seems to not respond, whether it's you're not getting the results you're looking for, or you're feeling like shit in the process. Like, either way, like, it's just something is not going right. You either have to feel really shitty in the process of looking leaner, or you don't get any leaner and you feel okay, but you don't really ever feel great, right? A lot of people have this misconception that they have like a damaged metabolism, or that their metabolism is broken from the years of chronic dieting or whatever. And the reality is that's not the truth. Your body is just adapted to the changes in your lifestyle and how you've been living. And it's going to take a while for your body to adapt differently. But I want you guys to understand where you're starting, and hopefully help you guys understand how to make the right changes to get your body to respond the way that you want it to, not the way that it is currently responding. So if this is something that resonates with you, I would love to hear about it. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Let me pull up my notes so I do not get distracted. Like I said, I get off on tangents very easily. All right. So there are two main types of metabolic. There's two main metabolic types. It doesn't mean that you have to be all one or all the other. You might be a blend of the two, but you likely are going to gravitate towards one end of the spectrum. And you might be like, oh no, I am definitely that one. All right. We've got fast oxidizers and we've got slow oxidizers. Fast oxidizers, a lot of people would think, is the ideal type of metabolic type because you tend to burn quite a few calories. You have a high training frequency and volume. So you're training, 4 to 6 days a week. You're walking 10 to 15,000 steps a day. You're getting plenty of training in. You're very, very active. You're always moving. A lot of times my fast oxidizers are very sympathetic nervous system dominant. So you're the kind of person that even when you have downtime, you're like, oh, well, what can I do to be productive? You're always on the go. You likely have a big appetite, meaning you do find yourself thinking about food very often and sometimes not really knowing if you should be eating or not. You're kind of like, wait, I just ate. Should I really be eating? You are very disciplined by nature. You tend to be very disciplined and driven. And it's why whenever you can't stick to the plan, you feel like shit about yourself. You start to talk down on yourself. Your biggest struggles as a fast oxidizer is number one, the appetite. You'll go through periods where you're like, man, I can really be consistent. I'm dialed in. I feel great. But all of a sudden, like the appetite picks up and diet compliance gets difficult. Maybe you decide to go out one night and you're like, I can totally do this. And you're like, I'm just going to have a little bit. And before you know it, a little bit leads to a lot. And now you're like, you're feeling like shit about yourself and you're trying to get back on the restrictive diet again on Monday. This goes into that binge restrict pattern of like, I can be really, really good and get results, but I feel like shit in the process. You typically can lose weight, but you can't seem to maintain it without living in that chronic calorie deficit. Oftentimes, what I find the biggest struggle is that my fast oxidizers are using online calculators, which often underestimate your caloric needs. And it's really easy when a lot of times my coaches are in this realm and they're like, but the calculations say I should only be eating this many calories. I'm like, yeah, but your feedback is saying that ain't the truth. Very much all or nothing thinking, kind of all in or all out all of the time. You're either in it all the way or you're like, I can't do it at all. And whenever you try and diet, you can, like I said, you can lose weight, but maintaining it becomes very, very difficult. So the dieting, not only does it impact, your relationship with food, but it's also impacting your mood throughout the day, your energy levels throughout the day, and yes, your workout performance. My slow oxidizers, and I'm going to save the suggestions for the end because I want you guys to see both ends of the spectrum, are the exact opposite. And like I said, you might have identified with some of those things. And as I'm going through this list, if you find yourself identifying with some of these things too, that's okay. You're probably somewhere in the middle, but we want to know which end of the spectrum you are more teetering towards. My slow oxidizers typically don't burn as many calories. So your training volume, you might be it's like 3 to 5 days a week. Your volume is pretty consistent, but you're not literally in the gym for 60 to 90 minutes a day, hitting hundreds of reps every single session, right? You might be doing a basic bodybuilding split. Maybe you're doing a CrossFit Metcon and that's really it. You have a less active lifestyle. You're getting less than 10,000 steps a day. Maybe you're in the 3 to 5K steps a day, or maybe the 5 to 7K steps a day. You are somebody who maybe you are productive in life, but you move a little bit slower. You're a little bit more of that like parasympathetic nervous system dominant. You can't really get that hyper responsiveness. You lack energy. You feel like you have a lot of things to do and you want to get through them, but it's like you're just moving a little slower than you'd like to be. You kind of feel like you're dragging ass through life. Your appetite tends to be inconsistent. You're somebody that's either super hungry or you're not hungry at all, or you're like getting a lot of cravings, or you don't even feel anything. You have a more structured lifestyle, but you have a little bit more spontaneity in it. So you tend to like kind of have more, I'm just going to go out socially here and there. Like you're kind of go with the flow kind of a person, like the Bob Marley life, maybe, so that's kind of you. And maybe it is, you've gotten to a point of burnout in your life. Maybe like you're just kind of going through the motions at this time and everything just feels kind of status quo. So you're the exact opposite of my fast oxidizer. And like I said, you could be somewhere in the middle of these two. My struggles with my slow oxidizers is, I kind of already mentioned this, but the unpredictable appetite. You can go from literally not being hungry at all to all of a sudden you get a ton of cravings and you're just like snacking and grazing. You work really hard on dieting, but then you can't seem to lose weight. You typically eat lower food volume. So unlike my fast oxidizers who are like, I need to eat more food, like you typically eat very calorie dense foods and don't even realize you crave those calorie dense foods, don't even realize how calorie dense they are. You're the kind of person that's eating like an egg with toast and butter for breakfast. And it's like a small meal, but it's like 600 calories. Just typically that's where you're at. Your calorie calculations are usually overestimating your calorie needs. So you go online, you find a calculator, you're like, man, I feel like I work out, but like obviously I'm not doing enough because this calorie calculation is just not working for me. And most of my slow oxidizers get dietary success through extremes. However, those extremes become hard to maintain. So you're someone that maybe has tried like doing an extreme calorie deficit, cutting out carbs, doing a more carnivore based diet, something like that. You also tend to gain weight very easily. So if you've ever tried reverse dieting, it's like every time you try and add more calories, your body just holds on to weight. Like it doesn't seem to lose anything. So very opposite of my fast oxidizers. Now, kind of looking at those two ends of the spectrum, what I want you to hear is my fast oxidizers, they're like metabolic furnaces. And my slow oxidizers, they're like the kindling. They're like the fire's burning out, okay? And the sweet spot is somewhere in between. However, you both need a very different approach to your nutrition and your training. And it usually goes a little bit, it's not as intuitive or natural to what you're being taught. My fast oxidizers are often trying to diet the way a slow oxidizer would. They're cutting their calories, they're trying more extremes, they're really trying to be more disciplined with their diet, and they're literally starving their workouts and starving their lifestyle, and it's leading them into poor energy, poor metabolic function, and their appetite is just spiking. My slow oxidizers, the problem is they also try to cut calories. But when you're a slow oxidizer and you cut calories, your metabolism just adapts to that too. Your body's like, okay, you're not feeding me as much. So now I'm just going to have less energy throughout the day. So now I'm just going to burn less energy throughout the day. So it requires a very different approach on both ends of the spectrum. Okay. So here are some suggestions that I want to give you guys between the two types of oxidizers. But I also want to talk about a second piece of metabolic mapping that I do, which is also understanding how your body adapts to changes in your training. Because as I'm giving you these tips right now for suggestions, you have to understand that your body is going to adapt a certain way as well. And that's going to be a whole second section. So if you're watching this and you really want to apply this, you can just shoot me a message. I have a whole guide that goes over this so that you guys can have the notes to read over, because I know that I'm going to be talking about things and some people are more audio, some people are more visual. And I want you to feel like you can apply this. Okay, so if you suspect you are more on the fast oxidizer side of things, you're somebody who is like, you're a furnace. You're like always moving. You're always trying to work out hard. You really care about the gym. You want to build muscle. Like you're always on it. Like you're hitting your steps. And like maybe you even have sleep problems because you're like always like your brain doesn't shut off. Okay. Here are some suggestions for you. And this is going to be the same on both ends of the spectrum. But the first thing that we always want to address is food quality and quantities to support your active lifestyle. So this is not just macros. It's also looking at micronutrients and food volume and looking at the types of foods that you're using to hit your calories and your macros. So a lot of my fast oxidizers, because they're so disciplined, they have no problem tracking their food, but they might have a problem getting in the right types of foods. So my fast oxidizers, this is the hard part. You need to diet on more calories, and this is often hard. Your calorie deficit needs to be strategically done in a way that keeps you getting as much food as possible to regulate your appetite, to give you more energy, and to improve your mood. When you feel better, when you have more energy, you burn more energy. Fat loss is not about eating less. It is about burning through body fat. And if you eat too little and you are a fast oxidizer, your body will start to burn less. Even doing your workouts, you could do the exact same workout 2 days in a row, and it's going to burn less calories one day just because you have less energy. Like that's how simple it is. So finding a way to diet on more calories and also higher food volume and sometimes even more frequency in eating. So my fast oxidizers, when you are in a deficit, need to really prioritize eating higher volume foods. The calorie dense foods, because you have an appetite, are very easy to overconsume. I am a fast oxidizer. This is why I don't eat things like M&Ms and things like that, because I could literally eat nuts. I could literally eat handfuls of those things and never get full. Okay. So You want to make sure that you're addressing both of those things. And then also meal frequency. So meal size and frequency. So my fast oxidizers might get hungry more frequently. And you need to understand how to build in. I eat 6 times a day. And I kind of have a routine with that. You might need to be eating more frequently in order to see that your appetite is under control. Another key for my fast oxidizers is they need more diet flexibility. So I know that I mentioned more food volume, but when you're dieting on more calories, my fast oxidizers often have fear around eating those calorie dense foods because they feel like they can't control themselves. So often I will have my fast oxidizers build in more flexible meals routinely to desensitize them to this feeling of like, this is the only time I'm going to be able to have these things. They really need to be able to get to a point where they can actually enjoy eating those calorie dense foods and feel satiated on a smaller portion of them. And that happens over time of intentional practice. A lot of times my fast oxidizers are not sleeping well and they're not getting enough recovery in. This is something else that I'd really try and emphasize with my fast oxidizers is getting them sleeping good and understanding the importance of taking downtime, taking those moments of just being a little bit more relaxed. And then the other thing, this is really big about fast oxidizers. Speaking of body image, which I know was the topic that I wanted to talk about, but I stopped myself. My fast oxidizers really need to identify achievable and realistic maintenance goals. Okay, so we all are conditioned to see the gram, right? You see the picture perfect photos of your favorite fitness coaches or your nutrition coaches or your athletes, and they just look phenomenal, right? You have to realize that's not how they're walking around every single day. They're taking a photo, they're hitting certain angles, they're posing, and you cannot compare yourself to what you're seeing on Instagram. You have to really look at what is actually achievable and realistic to maintain for you. And I always look at body fat percentage, right? Like maintaining sub 15% body fat percentage is okay. You can do that if you want to live that way, but it does require dietary restriction for the long haul for you to maintain it. You have to realize that if you want to walk around lean, you're going to have to make sacrifices in your lifestyle in order for you to do that. You're going to have to train a certain way. You're going to have to eat a certain way. You're going to have more structure in your diet. So if you want to walk around like that, you have to understand that the lifestyle has to be something that you are also pulled to live. You have to want to live the lifestyle. You can't have the body without having the lifestyle. So we have to identify achievable and realistic maintenance goals for you. Now, that's not to say that you can't maintain a 6-pack of abs or a 4-pack of abs or, the body that you want in a sustainable way. We just have to know what that looks like for you. Okay. So, and what that's going to require for you in your certain place in life. Now, my slow oxidizers, and if you are hopping on here late and you're kind of curious of what I'm talking about, I'm just going to kind of recap. I'm kind of talking about metabolic mapping. So you'll want to watch the replay, but I'm going into my slow oxidizers now and some suggestions. My slow oxidizers, again, need to work on maximizing calorie intake. We want to find your calorie ceiling the right way, not just relying on an online calculator. And we want to try and keep calories as high as possible. Oftentimes, my slow oxidizers need to move more, not eat less. They need to be trying to diet on eating more food to get their body more conditioned to having more energy available. But we need to get their body burning more energy. So we have to kind of force movement in the same process. If we can keep calories high and we increase energy output by just simply eating more, actually increases your energy output, but also by intentionally more walking, some more cardio, maybe even more weightlifting throughout the week, it makes it a lot easier for your body to burn fat. We want to increase food volume because that food volume is going to also increase the thermic effect of feeding. So we want to looking at less calorie dense options here. Okay. Oftentimes my my slow oxidizers need more of an interval-based approach to their fat loss. They need to do some calorie cycling because you don't burn as many calories. It gets to a place of burnout. You get to where you're going strong. You're like, man, I'm just burned out. And whether it's you're tired, you're fatigued. So like, think of it more like deloading in your fat loss phase. My slow oxidizers do tend to need more of that. Really need to establish more consistency with meal timing, because oftentimes my slow oxidizers don't feel like they eat that much. They're like, I don't eat that much. And it's because they don't. They snack throughout the day, like little things. It's like I had a handful of pretzels, or I was cooking and I had a couple of noodles when I was cooking my dinner, or whatever. You need to have more consistency. And like, I wake up, I have breakfast, I eat a snack at 10, I have lunch at 1, I have a pre-workout meal, and then I have dinner. Like, you have more of a structure to your meal timing that's not just listening to what your body is telling you, because your body's kind of lying at this moment. It's not really giving you those right appetite cues. And again, it's identifying something realistic, but for you, it's more of a realistic timeline. My slow oxidizers often have very high expectations on results without understanding the expectations on the effort. And when you're a slow oxidizer, you are going to have to work a lot harder. So you might want to extend your timeline a little bit to allow yourself to enjoy the process, so that you can actually reach those goals. Okay. So that gives you guys a little bit of an understanding of like the fast oxidizers versus the slow oxidizers. And if you feel like, based on what I'm talking about right now, which end of the spectrum you're on, I would love for you to be like, I think I'm a fast oxidizer, I think I'm a slow oxidizer. And I would love to be able to just know that, just be able to comment on that and be able to help you out. Okay. So, or whatever. I don't know. I just felt like I just want you to tell me. I just want you to tell me that I helped you just identify which side of the spectrum you fall on. I don't think I've had enough coffee today. Maybe that's what the problem is. I'm feeling a little bit blah. Take another sip. Today's flavor of the day is this salted peanut butter cookie. It is so good. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep finding it, but I've been hitting home runs at TJ Maxx lately. All right. So now that you know where you're at, okay, and hopefully I've given you some suggestions on where you should take this, whether you're a fast oxidizer or a slow oxidizer, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle, but you intuitively know which end of the spectrum you fall more towards, because you can think about your history of dieting or training and all that stuff. We need to know, are you a fast adapter or a slow adapter? Okay, so this is the second piece of metabolic mapping. You know your metabolic type. What type of adapter are you? Okay. My fast adapters are the ones that get most frustrated. All right. Your body responds initially, but then you just seem to hit a plateau, or the weight comes back on. My fast adapters often need more frequent adjustments to your training and your nutrition plan in order to prevent adaptation. So it's like every time you make a change and you get some quick wins, your body catches up and catches on, and then you're like, I'm stuck again. And you need to understand how to make smarter changes to your body to allow you to keep burning. You often get excited for the first couple of weeks of any nutrition plan, but then you tend to fall off. You kind of break the progress before the progress actually shows up. So you're making progress and you don't see it because you're so conditioned to want to be able to have those fast results. So my fast adapters get frustrated and they fail because they stop right before the magic happens. You hit that plateau and you're like, this is just not going to work, and you don't know what to do. Okay. So that's my fast adapters. My slow adapters, this is the best of both worlds, man. Like, this is awesome. You literally, I tell you what to do, you start doing it. And the problem with my slow adapters is they want the quick win. They're like so dopamine driven. They expect that week 1, they're going to lose 2 pounds. Week 2, they're going to lose 2 pounds. They're going to keep losing 2 pounds, right? But with my slow adapters, when I start them off, I tell them initially, hey, we're not going to look for quick wins. We're going to look for wins in week 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the initial changes might come a little bit slower, but the plateaus don't happen as long as diet compliance stays high. So with fast adapters, they might lose 5 pounds in a month, but then they stop losing weight, and then they just plateau, and then they give up and they regain the 5 pounds plus some usually. My slow adapters, they're like, I've been consistent for a month and I'm not seeing changes. And they're like, oh, this must not be working for me. I almost just dropped the cup. But if they stay compliant, all of a sudden the seal breaks and the weight starts coming off. The progress comes much slower, but it comes more consistently. My slow adapters often don't need a lot of adjustments. It's like once I get them moving, it's like I just got to keep them consistent. Stay consistent because this is all you need. You need the constant reminder that what you're doing right now is working. The stove is on, the water is cooking. Like that's what's going on right now. Okay. You often feel like you're making slow progress, but it is actually moving at the right weight. Like how many of you guys don't, so many people are like, oh, I know progress is slow. Well, do you even know what fast progress looks like? Fast progress isn't losing 1 to 2 pounds a week for every single person. Because every single person, if you lost 1 to 2 pounds a week, think about where you'd be in 8 weeks, right? Like the body is very different. You have to look at percentage of body weight. And I think it's like 1% of body weight per week is like ideal. You have to look over the course of months and years. When we look at those studies of 1 to 2 pounds a week, that was based on studies that were done with overweight people losing weight over the course of like 6 to 12 months. And they looked at how much weight they had lost and they had averaged it out over the course of the months that they were in the dieting phase. So don't feel like because you're not losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, you're not making fast progress, especially if your goals are to look different, because you might also be putting on some muscle in the process. All right. So I'm going to recap a little bit for those of you guys that are joining on late and close up shop with some things that are going to help you understand why all of this matters. My cat is looking for trouble. Jack, get out of the cabinet. He knows how to open cabinets. This cat is so smart. Will you stop? No. Hey. All right. So fast oxidizers. You are like the high achieving gym king or queen. You are like always the one. You can be dialed in on your nutrition, but like you can't stay consistent. You tend to try and diet and like you hit the roadblock and like willpower fails and you can't figure out what to do. Okay. You're in that constant state of like, every time I drop calories, I just feel like shit and I have to feel my diet is so restrictive. Okay. My slow oxidizers are like the only way you see progress is with extremes in your diet. You plateau quickly. You feel like you don't have a lot of energy. You're not quote unquote like the energy. You're not the Energizer Bunny. Like you just want to go to the gym, hit your weekly quota, and you have other details in life that matter more. Okay. Two opposite ends of the spectrums. You both need to know what calorie maintenance looks like for you to optimally perform your best in your current lifestyle. All right. Fast oxidizers, you need to diet on more calories. Slow oxidizers, you need to diet on as many calories while increasing your movement. That is the key to breaking through the slow metabolism. Okay. And the key to losing fat with a fast metabolism is feeding the fast metabolism. Fast oxidizers, more food. Slow oxidizers, more food, more movement. All right. If you are a fast adapter, okay, you've got to be conditioned to understand that the first 5 pounds doesn't matter about as much as the next 10. Stop looking for the extreme thing that works for 3 to 4 weeks and learn how to intervally approach your fat loss journey to prevent burnout, to keep you going for the long haul, setting a more realistic timeline for your body. And my slow adapters, you just need to be consistent long enough with higher calories to allow your body to do what it needs to do. So don't look for those wins again in the first 3 to 4 weeks. We're looking at weeks 6, 7, 8, 12, 16, 24. That's where the magic happens and where you can say, wow, I have finally found what works for me. Now, who does this apply to? Everything I'm telling you right now is only going to help you if you are willing to apply a trackable approach. Okay. If you truly want to change your body, you want to lose body fat, you want to feel better, you want to improve your body composition, you want to improve your health. Okay. You want to have more energy. You want to be able to look good naked. I don't know what the hell your goals are, right? We all have different goals. Okay, this will work for all goals, even if you want to build muscle, because I'm building muscle right now. I'm on that muscle building train. I am rebuilding these legs. Okay, so whatever your goals are, you have to be committed enough to wanting to see progress that you are willing to track. Okay, you have got to want to track data. Tracking data is so easy. We don't have to do any calculations anymore. When I first started tracking my food, I literally had to have a notebook and I had to write everything down. I had one of those stupid scales that like wasn't digital. Like it was like where you had to tear it with your finger and like the freaking had like a little spring in it and like it would never tear properly. Okay. Like technology has made things so easy. You can put your weight in an app and like it just shows you your average per week. It shows you how things are changing. You can put your food in an app and it calculates the macros in it, right? All you have to do is be the person that says, I am going to track my food. I am going to track my weight. I am going to use a food scale and make sure that I'm tracking the right food amounts. I'm not just guessing because I want to see results. And when you have that data, you can now adjust. But how do I adjust? Okay. I wish I could tell you. I mean, I'm not gatekeeping here. I'm not gatekeeping. Like I will tell you all my secrets. How do we adjust? We look at feedback. We look at how your body's progressing. But this is different for every single person. I can't tell you how to adjust for you because I don't know what your roadblocks are going to be. And this is why having a coach or a professional who does this for a living help you, guide you in your journey is the key to your success. Okay, like you can totally do this on your own. But if you've been trying to do it on your own and you're getting stuck in this same cycle and never getting anywhere, sometimes it's time to reach out to a professional and get some guidance in your journey. That's what we do. That's what my passion is. I want to see my clients show up confident in their life. I want to see them break through the plateaus because guess what? Like people spend money on really stupid shit and live their entire life feeling stressed out about the fact that like they're constantly dieting and they still look in the mirror and hate what they see, right? And I know that there's a lot to be said. We're going to talk about body image, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. If you just had one person who like could be the person that solves your problems, I mean, it's not going to solve all your problems because you're going to have to do the work. I don't do the work for my clients. They do the work, right? But to give you the tools to solve your problems, now you're like, oh my gosh, all of these years, this shit, I feel better, okay? Every $5 Starbucks Frappuccino that you wasted your money on, every Fit Aid that you drink, every, I don't know, protein powder that you bought, every restaurant meal, all that shit adds up. Every freaking shirt that you wore to cover up your body because you didn't like how confident you or how you felt in your clothes, like all this stuff can go away if you just take a leap of faith and trust somebody else. Like I had to trust somebody else in my own journey because if I was listening to myself, like I wouldn't trust, I know too much. Knowing too much is really hard to make any progress because you overthink everything. Like 100%, I will overthink everything in my life. So, and that's what a lot of people do. I wasn't planning on ending this on a plug for coaching, but it is a plug for you guys. If you guys are serious about applying this, okay, whether you're working with me or not, track your data and learn how to adjust your data. I just made an Instagram post about tracking macros because tracking macros is the best way to lose fat. It does troubleshoot everything because it can help you guys understand how to build balanced meals. Obviously, there's a food quality perspective that we have to address. I'm not just a macro coach. We do look at actual food. My approach is very different, but it solves the problem. It's no longer guessing. It's no longer wondering if it's your metabolism or your hormones. However, when you understand your metabolic type, like I've explained today, now you understand why what you were doing might not have been working. So you need to be willing to track your food, whether it's with somebody who is going to guide you through this or whether it's on your own and learning how to adjust on your own. And you totally can. You just have to be willing to understand that it's all trial and error. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have weekends where things don't go perfect. That's okay. Like life is not about perfection. So that's it. I'm going to look over at the comments here, see what I got going on. Nana Honey said, you've hit exactly how I am. I believe that was probably when I was talking about being a fast adapter, or I'm sorry, a fast oxidizer. Fast oxidizers are very common. The majority of my clients I work with are fast oxidizers. They don't realize that they have been underfeeding themselves for so long. And when I actually get them eating enough food, they feel better. So that is a common thing. I'm just going to go over here. I think I'm mostly a slow oxidizer. Alicia, I would honestly agree. And my goal for you, Alicia, is that we are going to try and work on fixing this for you. And it is definitely something that we will be able to address. So it all comes down to lifestyle, and it all comes down to obviously making sure we make it manageable for you. You know, that's the hard thing, guys, is everything that I'm talking about, right? It's really easy for me to say all of this, but I don't know what your stress levels are like in life. I don't know what your day looks like. I don't know what consumes your brain outside of your fat loss goals. Like, that's the shit that matters. And that's where a coach comes in to be like, okay, like, here is what you can actually manage, because oftentimes we overcommit ourselves. We overcommit and then underdeliver because we think we can do everything. It's just the human nature to want to be able to be successful. And sometimes when you just take down the expectations and you realize that like this is what's actually achievable for you, and you go through periods where like, all right, like I'm dialed in and I'm focused, and then we're going to maybe take a little bit of a maintenance phase and we're going to get dialed back in. We're going to make sure that you get where you want to be in a way that feels good to you. So hopefully that makes sense. Does anybody have any questions on this stuff? Talking about metabolic typing, metabolic mapping. If you hopped on here late, do you guys have any questions or anything? I see 2 people still watching on Instagram and a couple people here on Facebook or YouTube. So if you guys have questions related to this, please feel free to pop them in the chat, because I'm done talking about this. However, maybe I could talk a little bit about body image, because I feel like that was what I had on my mind. I've had it on my mind since Sunday. And I feel like it's something that needs to be discussed, especially if you're a woman and you're working hard in the gym. And I guess if you're a man too, men have these problems too. And like, you just still don't feel confident in your body. I want to share a personal story, but also hopefully help you guys a little bit if you struggle with your body image. And whether, you know, I get women, they're like, I got body dysmorphia, I got this and that. Like we all, it's just honestly, it's body insecurities and whatever it is. I don't care if we don't see ourselves the way we are. I don't care if you are the way you are and you just aren't happy with it. It's all about not being secure or confident in your body, right? So here's my little story. All right, I've been doing CrossFit for 15 years and I love it. And I was getting dressed on Sunday morning and I was putting on normal clothes. And I was literally in tears. I was in tears because I hated the way regular clothes looked on me. And it was so hard for me to like get dressed and feel confident. And Kristen, I see your question. I will answer it, but I want to go on my tangent now. Okay. Because all I was thinking is I've been working so hard in the gym and I'm not confident with the way my body looks in my clothes. And it wasn't about fat. It wasn't about I look fat. It was my body type, something that I really don't have a lot of control over. I have very narrow hips. For those of you guys that know my journey, I had a very traumatic couple of years and lost a lot of strength in my legs. My legs have shrunken. Like, so I feel like my proportions are just, my body comp isn't where I want it. And I've been working really hard. And it was like that. I just woke up on Sunday morning and I'm like, I hate my body. I fucking hate it. I just want to be able to put on clothes and like how I look in clothes. Like, but like I go to the gym and I'm in like sports bra and shorts and I'm fine because that's my comfort zone. And that's where it's acceptable to look the way that I do. And it was something that I struggled with. And it's like so hard to be secure in one place in your life, but not the other. And I'm saying this to you guys because, and the reason I want to talk about it is, you know, my goal, as I mentioned for my clients, is that we all are going to be more confident in our body, right? But it's not always about the scale. And no matter how lean you get or how much weight you lose, you're always going to have something that you wish you had. And you have something that you wish you didn't have. Like, it's just part of never being satisfied. It's also okay to be okay with wanting to improve those things. Like, I'm not saying, oh, I'm just going to accept my body. I need to accept the way my body looks because this is hard work. Like, I've worked really hard at everything in life to get my body where it is. My body is a side effect of the last 15 years of training at a level in a sport that, I need to be strong. I need to have a strong core. I need to have strong everything. And I'm not willing to give that up for aesthetics, right? Like I could be like, oh, well, I'm not going to lift heavy and this and that. Like I want to be able to be stronger. I enjoy training CrossFit. But I'm also going to do some things to work on fixing my proportions. And I'm going to put more emphasis on my legs. I'm going to work on those things. So I'm saying this to y'all because it is okay to want to change. Like it's okay to accept I'm accepting my body. I got dressed up. I'm like, you know what? This is how I look today. And like, I don't care what people think. Like, this is me, whether I'm not confident in my body or not. Like, I'm going to walk around today, like with confidence and know that like I am working hard to make those changes to my body the way that I want them to be. So that was my little tangent, because I know that a lot of people struggle with this whole, like, should I just accept my body where it's at? Is it okay to want to change it? Like, absolutely. Like, no matter who you are, like, I don't want anybody to tell me like, you shouldn't be worried about your body. Like, no, I'm going to worry about my body because I have things that are making me insecure in it. And I am going to accept it. Like, I'm not going to hate on it, but I'm going to work on those things to make myself better. So that was my little tangent and something that I wanted to talk about today as well. Kristen asks, when it comes to different types, slow or fast, does the approach to being in a deficit change? Yes. As I mentioned, when you are a slow adapter, you need less frequent, I guess it depends on, are you talking about a fast adapter or a slow adapter, or a fast oxidizer or a slow oxidizer? Fast oxidizers, typically when they're in a fat loss phase, if they're consistent, they probably shouldn't be in a fat loss phase for more than 12 to 16 weeks, because they usually don't have that much to lose. They typically aren't somebody that has a lot. If they have more than 20 pounds, then I would say 12 to 16 weeks and then taking a little bit of break and then getting back into it. My slow oxidizers typically need to, and it all goes by feedback. They typically need more frequent breaks. They typically need to go harder for like 3 to 4 weeks and then take a little break, a little bit harder, and then take a little bit of break. But it also comes down to feedback. When it comes to adaptation, so fast adapters versus slow adapters, my slow adapters don't need as many adjustments and my fast adapters need more. And when it comes to the deficit change, the only thing that really changes is going to be based on feedback. So if I'm getting good feedback, then I don't make adjustments. If feedback goes bad, then that's when I make adjustments. Hopefully that makes sense. But all right. Well, if I don't have any other questions or anything like that, nutrition, training, or life, I'm going to hop off. Finish my coffee, answer some client messages. So a couple of things. If you guys want the copy of my metabolic mapping guide, I'm working on making it pretty. Right now, it's just a simple PDF with like the specifics for you guys to look at. And if you want that, you can go ahead and shoot me a DM or a message. I should have put it in the show notes. I don't think I did. And then if you guys would like some help with implementing this in your fitness journey, just also shoot me a DM. You can just type in, like, just so I know who it is. You can just tell me a little bit about yourself. We don't need to make it. I mean, I guess I could put like, just DM me, metabolism or map. I do that often to make it easy for you. But honestly, I would love for you to just shoot me a DM and say like, hey, here's what I'm struggling with and how can you help? Like, that's really all I need, just to kind of give me a little bit of a background. So that's it. If you guys need anything, you know where to find me, Cheryl Masso, Instagram, Facebook. And if you're not a part of my Facebook community, you can also join that. But until next week, I will see you all later.